And we are recording. Awesome. So thank you all so much again. I think some of you have been on here for a few minutes now and you've heard me say this a few times. So thank you for your patience as we navigate this new technology. It's been kind of an adjustment for all of us, I think. I think I can probably speak for everybody on this call with how weird and uncertain and scary and just kind of every range of emotions we've all been feeling recently. Some housekeeping, again, just please stay on mute just so that we don't have people trying to talk over one another as we go. Please utilize the chat feature. We'll keep an eye on that as we are going through the presentation. We'll kind of try to address questions as they come. If you have any questions afterwards, again, we'll show you our email addresses, and we will also we'll post the link to this webinar and some more information. Probably tomorrow we'll get that live, depending upon my technology skills. So thank you all so much for being here. I'm going to share my screen, if I can figure out how to do that. And
we see you, Julie.
You see me? Well, that's good. Do you see my screen yet?
Oh, no. Oh, you're trying to show your screen. No. No.
There we go. Do you see my screen now?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, so thank you all, everybody who's on here. This is so awesome. It's really cool to see your faces, and I know we can't hear you, which is a bummer. We would much rather be in person for this, but this is, the next best thing. So thank goodness for technology. We want to take a moment quickly to thank our sponsors. We have been in touch with them throughout this whole process as we've made the transition and have had just the most overwhelming support from them, which is amazing. And many of them are small businesses or large businesses who are hurting right now. So just wanted to throw up all their logos so you could take a moment to acknowledge them. And, if you find yourself able to give business to some of these folks, we would love that. We wish we were at Cyclemania right now, for example. Unfortunately, that is not possible, but they have been such a great partner with us. And She Jams, of course, thank you for hosting today and for always hosting our clinics. So all these sponsors are just amazing, and I wish I could go through each one of them, but more to come as we go through the season and try to give some more love to our sponsors. And thank you also to you guys, most of all to you guys. It's been, a whirlwind and just a roller coaster of emotions as we've been watching the CDC and the governor's recommendations. And it's been definitely not the ideal situation to have to transition to virtual, but we've been really amazed and just so grateful for the support and enthusiasm that everyone's showing. And we are determined to make this unlike any other virtual event out there. And we're really excited that you're here today to hear about that. And we'll hopefully get some inspiration going, and you'll be out. Oh, gotta admit someone in the waiting room. There we go. And the weather today definitely helps get me into try for a cure mode. So thank you all so much. Cancer has not stopped in any of this, and Maine Cancer Foundation we're still committed to our mission of reducing the impact of cancer here in Maine, and especially right now in the time of COVID-19, we've actually put out some new granting that is specifically aimed at some of the challenges that are faced by cancer patients right now. So we know financial toxicity is a big problem. People are laid off, and some people who are in treatment for cancer are wondering about their job. So we're definitely trying to adapt in every way, not just with the tribe, but Maine Cancer Foundation is adapting, and your support is so critical to that. So I just wanted to quickly mention the other virtual clinics that we have the next few Thursdays. You can sign up for those on our website. If you have any questions, shoot us an email. And I wanted to talk about fundraising. So Maine Cancer Foundation is so reliant on Try for a Cure. Last year we raised $2 million at the Try, which was amazing, and we turned around and put $2.8 million back into our communities. It's we simply couldn't do it without you guys. So we're so grateful for that. And we know that fundraising is a little bit more challenging this year. So hopefully at this point, you guys all know kind of the basis or the basics of what we've done to change the fundraising this year. The biggest being that nobody's credit card is going to be hit if there is, if you aren't able to reach any threshold. So, you know, you've signed up, you've made your page. If that's it, that's it. You're not going to get your card hit. We are going to encourage people to fundraise and help you with some creative ideas as to how you can make those asks. And so we've adapted the fundraising levels to kind of reflect that. You know, typically at the Try 101 clinic, I would hold up all the incentive prizes. And so this is kind of the next best thing to kind of give you a preview. At $250, you'll get your medal and your shirt. At $500, there's a runner hat and a guaranteed entry for 2021. So that's huge. Typically you have to raise $1,500, but because of the whole situation, you know, with being a virtual event now, and we know that fundraising might be tougher, we did think it was fair to reduce that to $500. And then the sea bag, also usually at $1,500, is $750. So we're thrilled about the design this year. We think it's really cool, and we hope that others will be excited by it as well. At $1,500, we get some swapping around with incentive prizes based on what we had ordered and hadn't ordered, and so the Yeti tumbler is now where the sea bag used to be at $1,500. And then top 10 is really cool, this Chart Metalworks keepsake box that matches the sea bag. So you can stick jewelry in that, maybe your medal from this year. So we're excited about all of these, and especially, you know, always excited to work with Sea Bags and Chart, local businesses here in Maine. And then just quickly, the contact information. We'll send this out again, but if you have any questions that come up, Julie, the race director and founder, you can reach her at tryracedirector@mainecancer.org. And then myself, I'm Julia, the events manager at Maine Cancer, and you can reach me at julia@mainecancer.org. Try for a Cure at mainecancer.org also goes to me. So again, just thank you so very much for joining us today and for taking on this challenge. It's definitely, you know, it's still going to be a challenge, if not more of a challenge, doing this on your own, but we're excited to be doing it together, even if we're separate. So I am now going to end sharing my screen, if I can figure out how to do that. There we go. And I'm going to tee it off to Julie, the race founder and director.
Hi, everybody. How are you today? I know I can't hear you, but a big wave to everybody. Thumbs up. Excited to have you here. You know, even more excited to have you here because it's a whole new year. And is it not only just a whole new year for you, it's a whole new year for us. So as we go through this process, we are creating and learning just like you are. So stick with us. We promise you great things. I wanted to see hands up for those of you who are doing the try for the first time. Yay. How about some survivors? We got any survivors out there? Fabulous. So congratulations for all of you for taking the plunge. It's always with great pleasure that we welcome people that are here for the first time, and of course survivors. And again, remember, we're here for you. So if you have any questions along the journey, we're here for you. So come and get us, and we'll answer all your questions. Just a short story about me. I was diagnosed with cancer in 2004. And during that time, I had a really good friend say to me, I don't know why, it was just an odd thing to say. She said, have you ever done a triathlon? And I was like, no, I've never done a triathlon. She's like, you really should. And I'm like, okay, so what has that got to do with cancer? You know, it's like, okay. So I actually went and I Googled it, and it was an all-women's triathlon down in Massachusetts. I ended up you know, everybody looked just like all we do. You know, we weren't all ultra athletes. It looked really fun. It looked like everybody was smiling and having a really good time. And I thought I really wanted to have that good time. And what I wanted more than anything really was to challenge to myself to do something that I'd never done before. So that's why the challenge is all out there for all of you to experience maybe something you've never done before. And this year will be even easier, or bigger and better. You can make goals that pertain exclusively for yourself this year versus just exactly what the Try for a Cure brings. And I'll talk to you a little bit about that virtual triathlon. So a virtual triathlon, what does that really mean? You do it at your own time, your own place, and your own pace, okay? There's no cutoffs. There's no showing up when it's freezing cold and pouring rain and thundering and lightning. There's no dealing with parking issues or any of those things. And I'm telling you all the bad parts of Try for a Cure. There's a lot of good ones, but you won't have to deal with any of those this year. So if you wake up and you decide you're going to do your try on Monday and it is downpouring and it's too cold and you just don't feel like it, stay in bed. Do it the next day. Do it when you think you want to. You can do the swim one day, you can do the bike another day, you can do the run another day. So it's really make a goal whether you want to do a triathlon or duathlon. You can still do a relay. You can do it with friends and just do one part of it and have your own event around that. Modifying distances are fine. But the key is to keep moving and to make a goal and hit it, okay? It's about all working together. And, this is about health and wellness for ourselves, too. Not only are we raising money to help people with cancer, but it's also a great way for us to stay healthy for cancer prevention. So that's why we just couldn't go without Try for a Cure for a year. And it will be different. But it will be your goal for the year, and we are going to help you get there. So I want to introduce Betsy. Betsy, I've known Betsy for a really long time. We actually were around, we went to different high schools that were close together. I think we went to CCD or something like that together. We were friends in other ways, but Betsy has been doing the Try for a Cure since the beginning. And she's one of those we just can't shake over the years. This would be her 13th Try for a Cure. And I'm going to let her speak for herself because I'd like her to tell you why she's done it for 12 years going on 13 and what makes this year, what is she going to do differently this year that she hasn't done in the past years being with us at the race.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Julia. Hi, everybody. Welcome. So I have been doing it. I can't believe it's going to be 13 years. I thought I was going to run a marathon. I'd run a marathon when I was 25, and when I turned 50, I said, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to do another marathon." Well, it soon became very clear I was not going to run 26 miles when I turned 50. So I heard about a triathlon, and I said, "Now that would be a great goal to put out in front of me." So I did the first Try for a Cure, and lo and behold, I won my age group, which just blew me away. So I'm a little bit competitive, so that was pretty cool, and it really gave me the bug. And so I came back, and I came back again, and I came back again, and I podiumed a lot when I was in my 50s, until my late 50s. And now I'm just really glad to finish. There's part of me that would like to podium, but it's really just about putting a goal out there. It seems in the last few years, I've lost my own self-motivation to train. So it's really important for me to have an event out in front of me to do. So that's sort of the physical, emotional motivation for me, because I do like to stay fit. My metabolism is about 0 these days, so if I don't exercise, I don't stay fit, and that's very important for me. But more importantly for me now is, and it has been important for me over the last 13 years, is to really raise money for Maine cancer. it became personal for me. It will be 2 years ago, when my dad was diagnosed with cancer and he was given about 3 months to live, and he made it less than 5 weeks, and he passed probably 2 weeks or a week before the triathlon. So it was a big deal for me, and I still tear up. Julie lost her mom to this disease, and she carries her mom with her every day. And I had that relationship with my dad. So it's, and I don't think a year has gone by when I haven't lost a close friend to cancer. So for me, raising the money and participating in this event, I am very grateful that I am healthy. And I have not had cancer, but too many people around me have lost the battle. So, you know, when I found out that it was going to be virtual this year, or when I found out that it might not even happen, I mean, everything was up in the air. Part of me was like, oh, well, maybe I don't have to get in shape after all. And then I quickly woke up and said, oh, yes, you need to get in shape. And so I was really, really excited to find out it was going to be virtual. And when I first talked to the Julies, maybe a month ago, I said, you know what, we can just make this the most amazing event, regardless. And so I'm really excited to look for creative ways to make it just as exciting, just as fun, and just as special. And I actually was pretty blown away, because about a week and a half ago, my brother called me and said, hey, I've been thinking about Try for a Cure. And I would like to support you. And so why don't you think about getting 10 of your friends together, and Emily, who's his daughter, my niece, and I will get timers and kayaks. And my brother lives about 3 miles away from me. And we will put on a virtual event for you guys if you want to find 10, 8 to 10 friends to do that. And I was like, wow, really cool. I said, Stephen, that means so much to me, because I really want to go out and raise money. It's going to feel weird. And I just, I may invite people I don't know to do this. So it's really nice to see the people outside of the Try itself starting to think creatively on how they can support it. So that's a little bit about me, and why I'm here and why I keep coming back. And now, because I've done it every year, I'm kind of guaranteed an entry every year. So hopefully I'll be still doing this when I'm 70 or even older, which is getting closer and closer. So what I want to talk to you about is what to wear, how to prepare. And I will tell you that on my first triathlon, I did not have all the gear. I did some things that I would not recommend, like I went out and bought a road bike less than 4 days before the event and taught myself how to clip in. I would not recommend that. But over the years, I've gotten a little more savvy about things. And so that's what I want to share with you today. So first of all, it is important to train. As Julie said, it was a great day to get out on your bike. I'm a little chagrined to say that my bike is still in the basement, but for those of you who weren't on earlier, I did jump in the ocean today just to say I could, and to see if I could get into my wetsuit, because that's always an interesting challenge the first time you put it on for the season. So, and it was really funny because I forgot how easily you float. So I jumped off my dock and I'm like, oh my God, the wetsuit makes me float. And that's what's great about a wetsuit, is you really can't drown in a wetsuit because it keeps you floating. I'm going to talk more about the wetsuit in a little bit. So you definitely want to get out biking as much as you can, and running and or walking. I've just started running. I've been walking all winter. So I'm trying to build that up. And swimming is really my preferred sport. It's not, my biking is my strongest, but swimming is my favorite. So I will swim no matter what. first triathlon, it's pretty daunting to think about putting on all, but getting and putting on all the fancy tri gear. My first triathlon, I wore a bathing suit. No, I didn't. I lied. I wore a pair of shorts, baggy shorts, quick dry shorts, not a fitted bike short, a jog bra. Everybody knows. Can the people see? Because I know I'm dark, and but everybody knows what a jog bra is, right? Yep. And then I just wore singlets. So that I threw on when I got out of the water. So my shorts were pretty tight, but I squeezed them into my wetsuit, in my jog bra, and I got into my wetsuit. And when I got out of the wetsuit, I had the singlet to put on to run up and get on my bike. Not great, but it worked. And so what I would strongly recommend is getting some tri shorts. And the difference between tri shorts are that the tri shorts, if you can see, have a very small pad compared to a regular bike short, which has a very thick pad. Fortunately, you're not on the bike for that long, so having a smaller pad when you're biking is a-okay. And it fits into your wetsuit a lot easier. Plus, if you're running in a regular pair of bike shorts, you feel like you're running in a diaper, and I can tell you that is no fun. So in terms of tops, I now wear these tri shorts, and then I wear a tri top. Now, a lot of people don't like tri tops, particularly if you're larger breasted. Some people will wear a tri top, but they'll wear a jog bra underneath it, or they will, again, just put on a jog bra, wear the jog bra, and put on a singlet over with their bike shorts or their tri shorts, or even a t-shirt. So the most important thing is that it's not cotton, it's very comfortable, it's quick dry, and it's something you've worn before. Julie has a horror story about her first time wearing a pretty outfit, and it was not comfortable. Many of us will, if we aren't wearing the right clothes, might get chafing around your bra. You might get chafing in your legs. So you want to make sure that you've worn everything and that it's fitting comfortably. So let's talk about the bike. No, actually, let's talk about training for swimming. And practicing. So hopefully you guys are going to be able to get into a pool sooner than later. If not, the local lakes will start opening up, and I highly encourage you to get into a lake as soon as you can. How many people have never worn a wetsuit? Okay, here's my line. If you've never worn a wetsuit, it feels like you're being squished into a condom and somebody is standing on your chest. And that's exactly how it's supposed to feel. A lot of people will try on a wetsuit and then go, oh my God, I can't breathe, it's too tight. Well, unfortunately, that is how you're gonna feel at first. If it's too big, it fills up with water, and then you're gonna be carrying all this extra weight of water. So the whole point of a wetsuit is just to let in a tiny bit of water. Your body heat heats the water, and that's what keeps you warm. There are a number of places where you can rent wetsuits for like $70 for a day or for a weekend, but there are also a number of places where you can buy a wetsuit very inexpensively. So xterra.com is where I've gotten my last couple of wetsuits. If you sign, and write this down, it's www.xterra.com. You have a code that is C-CJAMS, and you're going to get about 50 to 60% off wetsuits. I actually haven't ever used the She Jams code, but I'm on their mailing list and I get their emails all the time and they're always having specials. So you can get an entry-level wetsuit for probably 125, a long sleeve, 125 to 150 bucks, and you can get a sleeveless or Farmer John, which has no arms, for under 100 bucks. Not cheap, but if you are serious about training and you want to practice in the ocean or even in the lake, I highly recommend it, because if you think about it, $99 isn't a lot more than a $70 rental for the weekend, and you get to practice with it. So if you can swing it, I highly, highly encourage it. You also can, if you're on the Try for a Cure website, you can also put out feelers to see if people have ones that they can lend you for the event or to practice. You also want to make sure that it's a closed foam wetsuit. And my wetsuit is not with me because it's out on the deck drying. But it's, so when I talk about closed foam, it's smooth on the outside. You may have seen wetsuits that are kind of rough and really neoprene on both sides. Does everybody know what I'm talking about? Thumbs up if you know the difference between a closed foam and an open foam. I'm seeing some thumbs up. Okay, so it's smooth. A closed foam is smooth on the outside, but it has a neoprene feeling on the inside. It's more porous. And a lot of times you'll see people who are windsurfing or what are other sports? Maybe even scuba diving, and it's open on both sides. And that holds a lot more water. So if you can, you want to get the closed foam on the outside.
Yeah,
and
if you can tell somebody that it's for triathlon or swimming, that's the kind they're going to give you.
Yeah. And I just saw a question about sleeveless or long sleeve. I would recommend your first wetsuit being long sleeve. It's less comfortable in terms of your shoulder movement, but you're going to get much more longevity out of it in terms of your swimming season. And you never know how, well, it's virtual, but the day you decide to swim, Casco Bay can range from 58 degrees to 70 degrees. So I prefer to have and recommend a long sleeve. Now I do have a sleeveless, so in August when I'm swimming a lot, I can wear a sleeveless. But today, there was no way I was going to go in a sleeveless. So if you only are going to own one wetsuit, I would recommend long sleeve, just because you're going to be able to use it for a much longer season. And you know what? You may find out that you love swimming in the ocean or in a lake, and you're going to want to keep swimming afterwards. So that's my personal recommendation. I just saw Julia put up, there are other places that you can get wetsuits. Wetsuitrental.com is the place you can rent. You can go to swimoutlet.com, and that's great for swimsuits, goggles, and swim training gear. Sometimes they have wetsuits, but I would go to Xterra first. And then also Sierra Trading Post is or I guess it's called Sierra Trading now, is another place where you can sometimes find discounted gear. So you should be able to get anything you need without paying full price. Booties are needed this time of year. So funny you should talk about the booties. I couldn't find my, I have some like neoprene socks that fit really tight, and I couldn't find them. And I have some neoprene booties that I've used for kayaking. So I put those on and I immediately took them off because they filled up with water. They were way too big. And the coldest thing on me ended up being my feet because it held all the cold water. You can wear booties when you do the triathlon. It's not, they're not, I find by the time we do it in late July, they're not necessary. But again, that's your personal preference, and they are legal to wear booties. I don't think you're going to need a neoprene cap. You can just wear a regular bathing cap, unless you're planning on getting in the water June 1st in the ocean. Otherwise, I don't think you need a neoprene cap. Did I get all the questions? Okay, yeah, so somebody said they prefer sleeveless, and yes, I personally prefer sleeveless too, but again, for longevity swimming, you definitely want long sleeve for early training. Okay.
Sorry, everyone. Just going to interrupt you for a second. I apologize. I feel like I was having issues with the chat feature, but I think I just sent out the correct URL and code to everyone. I think I was sending it individually to people multiple times, but hopefully it's there and hopefully it's correct now. All right. Sorry, Betsy.
That's okay. So let's talk about practicing, because you're going to be practicing a lot. So things that I wear when I practice, first of all, I would highly recommend, I would say never swim alone. Either swim with a buddy or have somebody kayak with you. And you're going to want a bathing cap and goggles, and you're going to want a bathing cap whether you need it or not, because the goggles grab your hair. And then I also strongly recommend getting what we call a swim buoy. Can everybody see that? So this attaches around my waist. And so when I'm swimming, it drags behind me. And so anybody can see me, boaters or other swimmers or anybody on the water, paddlers or whatever, are going to be able to see me, because this is riding on my back. You don't even know it's there. It just kind of hangs behind you. This particular kind, and many of them do, actually serves as a dry bag. So I can put keys or something I may want to not leave on the shore in here. You know, even your cell phone, though I would not risk it, but people do put their cell phone in here because it does serve as a dry bag. The other wonderful thing is if you're getting tired or you want to rest, it can serve as a pillow. So if you're lying, you can lie in the water, because remember, the wetsuit keeps you buoyant, and then you can lie, and that's what holds your head up, and it gives you a nice break if you need to take a break. So these you can get on Swim Outlet as well as and on Xterra. I think this actually might be an Xterra.
Hey, Betsy, I have another question that was sent to me directly. Emily says, I haven't tried on the wetsuit yet. Do I put it on wet or dry?
Good question. I put mine on dry, but what I suggest you do is, there's a couple ways to do it. There's a thing that they sell called Body Glide. Now that's a brand name. I'm sure it comes under other names, but it's like a deodorant stick almost. And you can rub that on like your elbows, your wrists, your shoulders, around your neck, maybe your knees, around your ankles. And that Body Glide helps you slide the wetsuit on dry. I think it's really hard to put a wet wetsuit on. Important thing, and they zip in the back. So many people, when they first put their wetsuit on, they think it zips on up in the front. They always zip in the back. The other thing that's really helpful is you can get, plastic grocery bags, Shaw's or Hannaford bags, and you can put your hand and your feet in those, and that helps the wetsuit slide up a lot more easily as well, just to start getting it up. And then the biggest thing is, you can't see me, is that I spend a lot of time, see if you can see, I'm not tall enough. I spend a lot of time right here pulling it up as tight as I can against my crotch, because the closer I get it here, the easier it's going to be to get it all the way up here and around my neck. And plus, you just want it to fit better against your bum and your crotch. It's going to give you a lot more mobility. A high chafe area is around your neck, so I encourage you to put Pam. Pam is another thing that you can use to spray on to help get the wetsuit on. And I will often put Pam or something around my neck so I don't get chafed there. And if I'm in a sleeveless one, then I'll put the Pam or the Glide or whatever right here, because this is another high chafe area. So that's practicing. Never swim alone, swim with a buddy. Get with a or a kayaker and get a swim. What do we call these? swim buoy, float buoy. Okay, so we've talked about running and biking stuff. Let me just talk a little bit about coming out of the water. So if you decide to put on layers once you get up to your bike, do it. Oh, I keep thinking you're not gonna have a real transition. You can do whatever you want because you have all the time in the world. But if you were in a real triathlon, I would say wait till you get to your bike to put on any other layers. Don't do it right when you get off your wetsuit, because there is a transition there. Okay, bike. Number one, you want your bike well-tuned. You can ride a mountain bike, a road bike, a hybrid bike, any kind of bike goes. If you're going out and buying a bike to do this in, I would think about the kind of cycling that you'll probably want to be doing on a regular basis. So for some of you, you may want to say, okay, this is a time for me to get into road biking. For some of you, you may say you're going to get into just biking, you know, to the grocery store, or you're going to mountain bike. My recommendation is you could buy a entry to mid-level hybrid bike. That's going to be the best option for you. If you're looking to be a more advanced cyclist, then what you want to make sure is that your tires aren't fat. So even if you get a mountain bike, make sure you can change your tires to a road tire, because otherwise you're going to feel like you're riding in sand. So it's just going to be a lot more efficient and comfortable and fun with a road tire, no matter what kind of bike you get. And if you want a more advanced bike, then you're going to want to look at something where you can clip into. But again, make sure that you give yourself plenty of time to practice clipping in. The advantage of if you are wearing your running shoes or your sneakers and you're not clipping in, you've seen the little like cages they put on your pedals. Does everybody know what I'm talking about? The little cages that go. There's an advantage to having those. When you're on hills particularly, the cages and clipping in, what that does is it allows you and enables you to pull up on your pedal instead of just pushing down all the time. So whether you're clipped in or you have those little cages, that when it gives you more options in terms of how you're moving your pedal, and makes it a lot easier, particularly when you're on hills. So if you're not going to clip in, I do recommend cages. You are required to wear a bike helmet. So that's important. I have bike gloves, but I never wear them in the tri because it's one more thing you need to put on. I also would recommend sunglasses. And on your bike, you're going to want to carry, I carry mine in what's called a, what's it called? Seat bag. You want to carry supplies with you in case you have a flat tire. So in my seat bag, and this just goes under the seat, behind my seat, under it. And so in there, I have a little bike tool kit. I have little things to change my tires. They look like they're glued together, but you get two of these, and that helps you change your tire if you get a flat tire. And then I have 3 of those tire things. And then I have CO2 cartridge, which enables me to actually blow up a tire. So this screws in, and it's enough to blow up 1 tire. And I keep all of that right under my seat. And then because I'm a girly girl, I have a pair of gloves, because if my chain falls off, my hands get filthy. And so I can have gloves so I don't have grease all over everything and get grease on my bike. So that's just because I'm a girly girl. I also carry chapstick wherever I go when I'm doing a triathlon. So questions about the bike? apparel. Okay.
I think I'll say, I'll interject one thing. The reason why Betsy carries all those things on her bike, especially since you're doing the bike virtually, is that if you're out on your bike ride and you get a flat tire at the race, we would have somebody available to come do your tire if, and they would have all that equipment. But if you're out there all alone and you get a flat tire and you don't know how to change it, somebody will stop and help you. And if you have the tools for them to do that, then they can help you. If you don't have the tools, you're either calling someone to get you or you're walking home. So that's why it's really important to carry those particular items with you when you're out training. Or
And even, yeah, and so even if, like, I hate doing that stuff. So at least if you have it with you, somebody's going to see you and they can help you. So whether you're going to use them yourself, it's important that you have them. And the other thing I always have on my bike is a little, we call them bento boxes. And my cell phone goes right in here. So I have my cell phone with me all the time so I can call for help.
Somebody has asked, is getting a flat tire very common?
Only when
I've
you
gotten one.
Only when you least need it to happen. I've had more chains falling off than flat tires per se, but it depends on where you're riding. So that's a hard answer. I would always be prepared for a flat tire, just in case.
The best way to help not get a flat tire is to make sure before every ride that your tires are blown up to the required PSI for your bike. On the tire, it will say what your PSI of your bike should be. So it should be blown up before every single ride, and that will help eliminate any flat tires unless you hit a nail or something.
Right. I live on a dirt road, so, and then I also ride in the fall, so acorns are not my friends. Stones are not my friends. So yeah, it's going to happen. The other thing that you want to carry with you is a water bottle, and I don't have a water bottle cage to show you, but bikes either come with it or you can buy one really inexpensively just to put on your bike, and it's just a little cage that you stick your water bottle in. One thing you're going to want to practice doing is taking your water bottle in and out of the cage as you're riding. So just, make sure you do that a couple times until when you absolutely need to have your water bottle, it's not the first time that you're doing it, because you're taking your eyes off the road for a minute. You're only going to have one hand on your handlebar, all of that. So again, any bike goes. Road tires are preferred. You can clip in or you don't have to clip in. It's all about what you feel most comfortable. And for you guys who are starting to, for some of you who start training now, you may do this, and then I'm going to guess that probably 75 to 80% of the people that do their first triathlon come back and do another one. There's something very addicting about it. It's so rewarding to finish, and the sense of accomplishment, and as much as I appreciate what Julie and Maine Cancer have done in terms of getting so many women committed to raising money for cancer, it's also inspirational to me, and continues to be, how many women get off the couch and make themselves into competent athletes. It's just that will make me tear up too. I've been an athlete all my life. I know what it takes to maintain that, and to see so many women just go for it for the first time, and then and it creates a new way of life for them, and gives you confidence that you've never had. You're doing something you just never in your wildest dreams thought you were going to do. So I would not go into this thinking that this is a one-shot deal. Also, the most important thing to do is, what's that?
No.
Oh no, I was going to say, make sure if you're borrowing somebody's bike or you're pulling a bike out of the garage that you haven't used in a long time, please make sure you take it and have it tuned up and make sure that everything's okay. Because nothing's more frustrating than to be on a bike that's just not, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous not to be on a well-tuned bike. Make sure it's fitting you properly. They can do a quick fit, all of that. And it's as much about comfort as it is about safety.
Great. Thanks.
I covered everything.
Yeah, thanks.
Questions?
So we've got a few more things to go. If you have questions along the way, if you have questions for Betsy, you're welcome to keep talking. What I'm going to do is talk to you a little bit about how to be creative and how to be safe as you do your triathlon. Again, this is a new year, so creativity counts this year, and it's about what you want your race to look like, okay? So this year for the swim, you can pick a pool, you can pick an ocean, you can pick a lake, okay? It doesn't have to be, obviously, it is not going to be at SMCC where everybody is starting right behind me. It can be whatever is most comfortable for you. You know, at the pool, I would make sure there's obviously a lifeguard. Ask them to help you count your lengths. You can bring a cheering squad in to have them watch you complete your lengths in a pool. So you know that some pools are 25 yards long and some pools are 25 meters long. And if you want to do the Try for a Cure length, a 1/3 mile of a swim in a pool that's 25 yards long is 550 yards or 22 lengths. And 1/3 mile in a pool that's 25 meters long is 500 meters or 20 lengths. We're going to send this all to you in a PDF after, so a lot of this information will come to you. It'll be posted on the Facebook page and we'll send it to you. But if you want to do the Try for a Cure distances, those are the distances that you would swim. In a pool, it's easy. You can count lengths. In a lake or an ocean, you certainly want someone to support you when you do your swim. Like Betsy said, do not swim alone. You know, having a swim buoy and wearing a bright colored cap. I see it all the time. People come to swim clinics and they have a black cap on and nobody can see you in the water if you look like the water. So the more you can stand out, and the only things that are showing are your hat and not much more. Your wetsuit is usually black. So the swim buoy is really a great safety tool so that people can see you. And it's also a safety tool to hold on to. I think, let's see, Victoria.
I was also going to say a white cap is not good either because, believe it or not, white just sort of blends in.
Right.
Yeah.
Dark green, dark blue, none of those are great. So pink, bright yellow, neon colors. I think Victoria, she mentioned that she puts a little whistle on her buoy. You know, that's great. But hopefully you have somebody swimming with you, so they shouldn't be very far away and you shouldn't have to have that whistle. Maybe they have the whistle to call somebody else too if something is going on. But the more safety precautions that you can have while you're in that water, the better off you are. And I think, you know, one of the most important things is don't swim alone. Have somebody there with you that has some idea. And also somebody in a kayak is great, but if they don't really know how to use a kayak properly and you're drowning and you hold on to that kayak and flip them over, you could both be in trouble. So there's some kind of qualification behind that person that's on the kayak or whatever with you.
Julie, we've got two questions. One is, can we do the swim at SMCC if we want? Are there any markers that could help guide us for the distance?
No, we are definitely discouraging you from gathering down at SMCC to do your swim. And the reason why we're doing that is because if everybody goes down there to do their swim at SMCC and there are CDC rules out there that you can't gather in more than 50 at a time, then we're encouraging you to break the rules, and we don't want to do that. So we want to encourage everybody to do it at their own time, their own place, and their own way, okay? There will not be markers in the water at all showing the Try for a Cure course. So we just need to be very clear that we're not encouraging people to go down there to swim. It doesn't mean that you can't, it just means we're not encouraging you to do so. For some people, it's a great place to swim in the ocean. For others, it's too intimidating to go there. So if you find your local lake that you have a camp beside, it's much more comfortable for you. Maybe if you want something that's more uncomfortable, push the distance more. So if you're okay with swimming in your lake and 1/3 of a mile is no big deal, say, okay, so for my Try for a Cure, I'm going to make it a mile. There's nothing wrong with changing the distances. So do what's more comfortable for you. If 1/3 of a mile is something that is you're putting yourself out there to do that, and you only do 1/4 of a mile, or you do 200 yards, that's fine. That's yours, and that's what you've chosen to do for this year. But if you want to try to hit the Try for a Cure marks, we're giving you some marks here that you can work towards. Again, on the bike, choose how do you want to complete the bike. You can use a road bike or hybrid bike. You can go on your local roads. You can go into a cycling studio. Maybe riding on the road is not something that you feel comfortable with on your own. At Try for a Cure, there's large groups. We've got police up there, and you feel safer, and you definitely don't feel safe riding out on the roads. You could use a mountain bike and go on trails if you'd like, or you could go get a class at Cycle Bar and do your 15 miles on a stationary bike differently, okay? So it's all about what is comfortable for you and what you feel is going to push you to the next level, okay? You can set up a bike trainer at home and put your bike on it if you want. We can give you 15 miles. The average person did 15 miles in about 1 hour and 6 minutes. So if you want to just do your ride, no matter how you do it, in 1 hour and 6 minutes on a stationary bike or in a class or somewhere else, and you want to make sure that you're going to the distance, those are some guidelines to help you do that no matter how you want to do yours. Again, safety precautions, if you are going to go out on the road, like Betsy said, having a working bike is the most important thing. There's nothing worse than having a bike that doesn't work and you get out there after 2 or 3 miles and your bike is just breaking down, let alone its brakes not working. So make sure that it's tuned. Absolutely wear a helmet, bring a spare tire and all the tools necessary if you get a flat. Following the rules of the road, okay? Using hand signals, staying to the right-hand side of the road, no iPods, ride with a friend, but make sure that you're doing social distancing, staying at least 6 to 12 feet apart from each other while you're riding a bike. Remember, cars will always win, so stop at every stop sign, always be on the defensive and on the roads. It can get scary out there, so make sure you're doing your part by staying to the side. When you're preparing for your bike or your race, pre-plan your route. So let's say you're going to do 15 miles around your house, or you want to choose something different. Let's say you're going to swim at Crystal Lake, and pre-plan what you want to do for your bike. And maybe it's a ride around the lake and it's something that's really pretty, or maybe there's a ride that you've always wanted to do. And there's so many beautiful rides out there. You can pick a ride in a different place that's really somewhere that, it calls to you, and you pre-plan your ride. You can do that on mapmyride.com, so that you have all your directions and you know how far you're going to go, versus going out there and saying, oh, I'll just turn around at 7 miles. You'll have a pre-planned route already so that you don't fall off and go 40 miles versus 15. Again, have some kind of instrument to measure how far you've gone. A GPS or a Garmin work really well. you don't have to have those, but it's great to know how far you've gone. And if you're cycling at home or in a studio, most of those stationary bikes have some kind of measurement of how far you've gone. But you know, those are just some ideas on helping you to do things that are different,
A lot of information.
and some guidelines. You know, I guess the biggest thing on riding outside is rules of the road. You know, telling somebody you're going to pass them if you pass them, if somebody comes along, staying far enough away from the person behind you. You know, don't wear iPods. You see people doing it all the time. You can't hear cars if you've got iPods on. Wear brightly colored clothing, just like you do swimming, okay? The brighter you are, the more likely somebody can see you. There's lots of resources to learn the rules of the road or hand signals. It will
And
be,
remember, you're riding with traffic in the same direction as traffic, so you're not going to see who's behind you necessarily, which is why bright colored clothes and no ear pods are important.
exactly. So we have some sources that you can click on to learn all those things. Or we'll go down, you know, at our bike clinic, we'll go into more depth about the rules of the road and things like that. As far as the run goes, you can run on local roads, you can run on the trail, you can run on the treadmill, and you don't have to run. You can jog, you can walk, you can crawl, you can slog, you can do whatever it takes for you to go the distance that you choose. Even at the Try for a Cure, anything goes. People always say, but I can't run. And I say, can you walk? And they say, yes. So it doesn't really matter what you do. And this is no different. But maybe you do have a goal. Maybe your goal is to run 3 miles for the first time ever. So, you know, if that's your goal, work towards that. Try to find a training program that will get you from walking to running 3 miles for race day, for your race day. Make sure that you follow all CDC's social distancing rules. I know running, a lot of us are running out in groups right now, but you know, we're wearing masks if we can't necessarily be within 6 feet of each other. I would say it's very difficult to do any kind of exercise with a mask on. And if you feel comfortable doing it, you can. But I think if you cannot do that, then you really need to find places where you can be alone, or you can just be with a couple of people where you can hold your own distances, whatever is comfortable for you. Again, running, you run on a different side of the road. You run on the left-hand side of the road versus the right side of the road. Again, you need brightly colored clothing. If people they can't see you if you're not dressed properly. Again, no iPods. Again, everybody runs with iPods outside, but you cannot hear cars if you have them in. Safety is the most important thing if you're going to run out on the roads. Don't run during peak traffic times. Honestly, I love to trail run. I love to trail run because it's easier on my knees. It's more beautiful. You don't have the traffic. You don't have to worry about cars. Pineland is a fabulous place to go out and run in the trails. So the Eastern Trail, there's lots of trails that you can run on. So, you know, go do different things. You can pre-plan your route for your ride, for your race. Decide where you're going to go and how long that is before you get out there. Again, there's another Map My Run. You can go out there and pre-map it and follow it as you're running. Use your Garmin to let you know how far you've gone. We don't care how fast you are, but if you do, that can also measure that. And you know, if you're doing it on a treadmill, all the equipment should let you know how far you've gone. But no matter what you're doing, do it safe. Do it in the appropriate clothing. Betsy went over all the appropriate clothing. There's nothing worse than being out on a run and you're in cotton and it rains on you and you're freezing cold and everything's stuck to you. So dry fit is the way to work out, no matter what you're doing, because it can breathe. And then, you know, there's also, we've talked about, I know Betsy talked a little bit about transition. you don't really need to worry about transitions. If you space it out over 30 days, you can do your run one day, you can do your swim one day, you can do your bike one day. You don't have to do them all in the same order. You can do them in whatever order you want and whatever length that you want, okay? Yes, we will be tracking, but we will not be giving you times. Like, your times won't matter. We'll put them and track them. I will have some kind of mechanism where you can report back to us if you want to. It won't qualify you. So if you don't give us any times, it doesn't mean that if you raise $250, you won't get your medal or your t-shirt. You don't have to qualify your lengths, times, or anything for you to be qualified for any fundraising prizes or anything. But you can send them in to us and we will keep track of everybody's. We won't be doing any type of, first place, age group, anything like that. So it's more about setting a goal and you reaching it and you giving yourself that goal this year, okay? Transitions, if you want to do your race on the everything on the same day, naturally as an individual, you will transition from swim to bike and bike to run without me having to tell you how to do anything, because you have to get from one to the other. At the race, it's much more complicated than that because there's more than one transition. So this is kind of nice if you decide that you're going to have your bike right down by the water, and when you come out, you can transition to your bike. I think what's really important in how to keep connected is to use the various ways in which we are allowing everybody to share their information. Like, there's a Survivor Facebook page, there's a Try for a Cure 2020 page, there's a Try for a Cure page, where you have a Strava page that can show your routes and all those kind of things. And it's really important that you share those things so you can get the feedback from everybody else that's telling you you're doing a great job. When you do your race, I was talking to a friend of mine and, her daughter was able to do it for the first year and her cousin was coming for the first time and, she had not done it. And I said, well, why don't you just do it from your house and, have your family there and have your finish line in your driveway and you have a family party ever after. And she's like, oh my God, that would be kind of fun. So be creative in how you're going to do your race. Invite friends to come out and do portions of it maybe with you on certain times to help you get through. Get your family involved. Get your kids still to make you posters. There's no reason why, you shouldn't have a cheering squad when you do this, okay? We're all going to be behind you cheering you too. So let us know when you're doing it so that we can help cheer you along. We've got some great things coming that will help with those things along the way, and we haven't officially announced any of them, but more stuff will be coming on how we can share each other's accomplishments and see us all working towards finding a cure for cancer. It is a different year. We hope to present it differently. We just want you all to move and have fun with us, share your accomplishments, share your goals. Come to the clinics. All these clinics will be on the websites. We've got Tri Talk coming out here pretty soon that will give you some updates on things that we're doing to keep you together, highlights on survivors, and all sorts of different tips to get you to your finish line, okay? I don't know whether I started at the beginning, and I should have, that the Tri will take place from August to August 30th, which is very different than it being July 19th. So you should accomplish your race between August 1st and August 30th, okay? And again, it doesn't have to be on any particular day, but that is when the Try for a Cure will happen, is from August 1st to August 30th. We also will be posting a video on how to change a bike tire too. So if anybody wants to learn how to do that, there is a science to it. You really need to get a flat before you can really figure it out, but you can take the air out and pump it back in too. So there's lots of great ways to do that. Again, you know, training, Google, triathlon for newbies. There's great programs there. You know, Couch to 5Ks, whatever your goal is, just Google it. There's all sorts of stuff online that can help you get there. And we certainly are here to help you do that too. So that's pretty much it. You guys got any questions? Do you want us to unmute everybody or? Oh, you're muted.
Unmuted everybody for a moment. We'll see if that's too crazy.
Breathe.
Thank you so much for all that information.
Excited?
That's so
Everybody
helpful.
excited?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, good. I'm glad to see your faces. I hope to see you out and about. If anybody has any questions, concerns, anything, just let us know. We're here for you. And make this your best year yet.
So I will, once I get this, figure out how to get this video uploaded, we will send it and the PDF out to everybody so you have all the information that we talked about. So probably tomorrow, watch for that.
Okay,
And
perfect. Thank
Julie,
you.
feel free to add my email to the list. I put it in the chat, but they can have it too.
Okay.
Will do.
Great. Awesome. Thanks, ladies.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Have
Bye.
fun.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.